मैं 2025 के hookup culture में 90s की love story चलती. I used to not be able to balance my emotions out. Everything would be very extreme. Crying, anger would be extreme, happiness would be extreme, the lows would be very extreme, the highs would be extreme. In life, you're going through so many changes in your body, in your life, but also every month. Like when you have your period, you feel bloated. You know, there's so many different phases that we go through. So I've always been open about it. Like today I have my period, so I was like, I don't want to wear anything too tight. I'm just going to be in jeans and kind of try to be as chill as possible.
A secret talent no one knows you have.
I told everyone I can touch my tongue to my nose. I told everyone I can speak in P language. So now I need to develop a
secret skill.
It will be your highway. I was like, but Alia had her highway moment. Why do I need to do what someone else has done?
Jaya Bachchan ji also made that this is not media. The pop culture is not media. What are your views?
I feel like there's a difference between paparazzi and then there's a difference between people who just have a camera phone. There are genuinely some people who belong to the media and paparazzi that come to events and capture you. But I genuinely feel like right now everyone is a paparazzi. If you have a phone, you take a picture, video to someone and you sell it. I mean, you are kind of the paparazzi only.
One actor whose DMs you would definitely open.
Kareena, because I'm obsessed with Kareena. So, yeah, if she messages me something, I'd be very excited to hear what she has.
Being as the cheerleader of Gen Z in Bollywood.
Suddenly I've become this like...
you're representing an entire generation. What are some things you think people don't know about Gen Z?
There were no films on social media and relationships and how Gen Z is dealing with anxiety and breakups. It was a very external perspective on what Gen Z is. I also need to watch everything on 2x. Okay. I do not have the attention span to that was the first time I'd come in the newspaper. Not a liar or a bad kid at all. My phone was confiscated. I got chashma and I feel like I'm sounding like some really old person because I'm saying when we started out my class, I would always stand with a hunch because I couldn't hear what people were saying. So I would always stand like this and then obviously I got chashma and people in class didn't have chashma. And I was very hairy and I had very thin legs and so people have said all sorts of things to me. Flat screen TV, toothpick legs, chicken legs, hairy, hunchback. I haven't, touch wood, lately seen any memes that y'all can tell me if there are some, but I've not seen anything. I don't want to say it and then suddenly there'll be a meme about me. She's so dumb, she's so stupid, she's this, she's that. I would be like, but why are people thinking this? How a normal person would grow up. I've also grown up. I've just grown up very publicly. My dad's always said you have to work with good people and have fun on a film set, because the outcome is not in our hands. The experience is what's going to stay with us at the end of the day. Opportunities come easily to us, but then audience acceptance is something that is entirely based on your performance. When he started out and then he kind of had to change gear and do something else. He did a lot of movies in Bangladesh, a topper in biology, and my grandparents were doctors. So there was a phase when I really was passionate about biology and medicine, and I'm still very interested in the human body and learning about different things.
People stop saying about you.
But I'm not saying anyone, then y'all will be like, you could never play her and all. So I'm not giving you a chance for me to say anything.
Loved, trolled, memed, praised. She's heard it all. Our guest on today's show is someone who's lived almost her entire life in the spotlight. Actor Ananya Panday. But who is the real Ananya? In the next few minutes, we are cutting through the filters and the headlines and asking questions she's never been asked on things she's never said out loud. Ananya, welcome to The Other Side with Brut.
Thank you. This is a heavy introduction, but I think the task is on you because I feel like I've literally been asked everything. So I want to see what these different questions are.
Let's see if we can get to the other side.
Let's see. Come.
Okay. Ananya, have you chased spotlight or has the spotlight chased you?
A little bit of both. I think, as you said, I've lived a large part of my adult life, at least, under the spotlight because I started working when I was 18. But I also like to believe that I had a pretty normal childhood because there wasn't any social media while I was growing up. Only when I became a teenager, when I was 13, 14, 15, when my parents allowed me to have a phone or they allowed me to have a social media account was when that switch kind of happened. And life started becoming more public, even though it was within our, group of friends only at that time. But actually, before I became an actor, not that many people knew who I was because social media wasn't as much as it is today. In fact, people were pretty shocked that my parents had such a grown-up daughter. I remember a picture had come of me in the newspaper. I had gone to some Diwali party, and that was the first time I'd come in the newspaper.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Okay.
So I wasn't that young. I was
Okay.
17. I was going to graduate school. And people were like, oh my God, your daughter's become so big. We thought your daughter was like 9 or 10 years old or something. So actually not many people knew much about me. And in fact, while we were shooting Student of the Year, Karan didn't want us to be public on social media. So actually our accounts were private until our film posters and announcement and film related stuff started coming out. So actually things were quite, even though it's only like 7 years ago, things were very, very different back then.
I meant to ask you, so like 13, 14, you started your social media accounts.
Yeah.
So all of it was private till
It
you
was
made
all
your
private.
debut.
Yeah, it was all private. I mean, when you're that age, when you're a teenager, even just while you're people in your school are watching you, everything feels like, oh my God, everyone's looking, and we get like 200 likes on a post, and you're like, oh my God, too many people and stuff. So, and my parents were very, very strict growing up in that sense. My mom actually hid the fact that I had a social media account from my mom for like 2 months.
You hid the fact?
Yes. And I was like not a liar or a bad kid at all. Like I was overly honest. I would tell my parents everything. But like I had this 2 months of thinking I'm very rebellious, and I didn't tell my mom
That was your rebel
That was,
phase.
yeah, that 2 months, that's it. And my mom found out, and she was so angry. She made me deactivate all of it. My phone was confiscated. So I was punished for having that. So my parents were quite strict in that sense. And I'm very happy because I did get to have a pretty normal childhood then. And it wasn't how it is now with so many kids.
Tell us a little bit about your growing up years. What was, what is your first memory of yourself? What age? What are you doing?
I remember just like going down and playing with my friends a lot because we live in a building. So, you know, you have your building friends, and then after school at like 5 p.m., everyone would like scream your name. And I live on the first floor. So, like, I would go run and go down and just like playing with the other building friends also. So, just like actually having like a very fun social life growing up. I remember being obsessed with my dad's video camera. Of
Okay.
course, and there's a lot of footage of that as well because he had those flip cameras where I could see myself and I would get so happy and like make all these expressions. And I was a very big Bollywood bacha, so I knew all of like the songs and the dances. I knew all the Veer Zara songs on the Casio. I used to sing. I was a very, very like social, performance-oriented child.
And it came naturally to you, or
Yeah.
it is because because of your father and born into sort of.
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like the mahal in our house. Like my dad never took us. Like I must have been on like 2 of his film sets growing up. It wasn't really a thing that he would take us because I don't think my mom enjoyed going with him so much. So we didn't also end up going. So it wasn't really a thing that, oh, my dad is an actor, so I want to be an actor. Because growing up, my dad was also going through different phases. He wasn't working as much. So I never saw him as this like, oh, my dad is just an actor. He used to do many, many different things. But I really loved being in front of the camera. And then when I was like 10, 11, I became very, very shy suddenly because you're in your awkward years where like suddenly I got chashma and, you're feeling like very conscious about everything. So then I became very shy. But then again, I think once I did my first film, the child like Ananya has come back. Like I feel now I'm very similar to how I was when I was like a young kid.
Before the
Before
shy
the
shy
shyness
phase
and like the insecurities and stuff hit you.
had come in.
Yeah.
What were your school time like? Your school days like? Are you still in touch with your friends from school? Were you seen as a Bollywood child? In that fraternity or?
I mean, no, not really. I was in the same school my entire life from like lower kindergarten. So since I was 4 years old till then when I
12th.
graduated till 12th grade. So I was in Dhirubhai Ambani International School for like 15 years, 14, 15 years of my life. So I had the same friends. And I still am, like I have my school group, which is my core group, you could say. Because everyone is kind of doing different things. So the conversation is not always about films. And yeah, in our school, like we had all kinds of people. So no one was treated differently, everyone was kind of treated the same. And as I said, that time social media wasn't that
As big.
active and there was no pap culture with at least kids at that time. So no one was like treated differently or anything in our school.
I'm going off on a tangent on the pap culture since you mentioned it. You must have heard the current statement that Jaya Bachchan ji also made, that this is not media. The pap culture is not media. She has a lot of respect for media when it does it, but this is really not the culture that one needs to have. What are your views on paps?
I mean, I think it's changed a lot. When we started out, there was only, I feel like I'm sounding like some like really old person because I'm saying when we started out, but it feels like times are changing within like 1-2 years also now. It's like such a big shift has happened post-COVID, obviously. But when we started, there were only a few people. I remember having like only 5-6 of the guys, and you kind of knew them by name and by
knew who
face.
was who,
Yeah,
okay.
you knew, and you had a really like respectful relationship with them. Like if I ever was like, listen, today I don't want to be photographed, they really did listen.
There were no clicks
there
just
was-
like that.
Yeah, and they always respected my boundaries, and I still feel like I have that relationship with the same ones, who are still there from the beginning. I feel like there's a difference between paparazzi and then there's a difference between people who just have a camera phone. There's
Okay.
like, because now you actually can't really tell the difference. There are genuinely some people who belong to the media and paparazzi that come to events and capture you. But I genuinely feel like right now everyone is a paparazzi. If you have a phone, you take a picture, video to someone and you sell it. I mean, you are kind of the paparazzi only. Once I went for this party and I got out of the car and I stood and I started posing and I was like, oh, this is the media. Obviously, all of them have phones. And someone was like, no, these are like normal people just taking pictures
These are
from
just
their
regular
phones.
people taking
Exactly. But so
photos, okay.
everyone now with a camera phone technically is almost like the paparazzi or like the media. So I feel like, I mean, I have a very different relationship with them. They've always been respectful to me. They've always listened to anytime I've said I'm uncomfortable. But I set my boundaries myself. Like if I'm feeling like I don't want to be photographed from the angle, I will not get out of the car until they don't put their phones off. So I think you have to kind of set those boundaries yourself and kind of, demand that respect or that the way you want to be kind of taken or clicked and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Are you now always conscious of the way you're looking, how you have to be dressed when
You
you're
can see my new fashion trend of being barefoot.
when you're stepping out? Maybe it could just be, going down the road that day because you want to pick up something, meet a friend. Does it play on your mind that you could be photographed and that could be sold, or you don't think about that? You haven't had such a difficult sort of anecdote
I think
before?
I'm used to it. I'm used to it now. It's been 7 years now. And I don't take the pressure of looking a certain way when I'm not working.
Okay.
Then I like to be how I am. Like just in my jeans and t-shirt or my chappals and my gym clothes. Because I like somewhere if a young girl or boy is looking at me, I want them to also feel like, okay, she is like one of us. Like, okay, on screen, it takes 2 hours to get ready and then look a certain way, but then on her days off, she's just like one of us. So I want to kind of keep that perception, alive, because that is the truth. That's how I am. I'm a very chilled out, casual person. So I don't take my off-duty time seriously at all.
Okay. So you're fine with sort of stepping out in chashma, a ponytail, and
Yeah. I do that
and like
very
you're sitting
often.
barefoot today. with
Yeah,
us.
I like to be comfortable because I want other people also to be comfortable.
Speaking of young people who are watching you, are following trends that you do, how do you look at body image? Right? There's a lot of talk about body positivity, and now, especially with social media, it's getting younger, right? Trying out different creams, looking a certain way. Do you feel a bit responsible on making sort of the right noise about it?
Of course. I mean, I've always been very, very vocal about that, about the fact that, we have to have a strong sense of self and be confident in whatever shape and size we are. As a girl in life, you're going through so many changes in your body, in your life, but also every month. Like when you have your period, you feel bloated. There's so many different phases that we go through. So I've always been open about it. Like today I have my period. So I was like, I don't want to wear anything too tight. I'm just going to be in jeans and kind of try to be as chill as possible. So I speak very honestly about how I'm feeling, and I don't get into like over editing photos or touching them up. When it comes to my film Tu Meri Main Tera, everyone's like, oh, you look so fit. I'm like, yeah, but I worked for it. It's not like I'm naturally just like that. I had to follow a very strict diet. I was working out every single day. And now I don't have to be a certain way for a role. So now I'm enjoying my food and working out whenever I get the time to work out. So I've just been very honest about my journey, and I have So Positive, which is my digital social responsibility. So with that, we've been extremely vocal about just body positivity and being confident in who you are.
What are one of the things that you could tell your younger self before you got in front of the spotlight?
Yeah.
Any learnings in terms of confidence, in terms of body positivity?
I mean, I used to be so conscious because I was so tall, and like everyone was not as tall as me in my class. So I would always stand with a hunch because I couldn't hear what people were saying. So I would always stand like this, and then obviously I got chashma, and people in class didn't have chashma. I was very hairy, and I had like very thin legs, and so people have said all sorts of things to me: flat screen TV, toothpick legs, chicken legs, hairy, hunchback. So I've heard all of it.
All of this when you were in school?
In school, from different seniors, you hear the boys in the class are talking and stuff, and not just with me, everyone used to experience it in their own way. So if I could speak to my younger self now, I would just be like, you're killing it and you're crushing and you're looking so cute and so amazing. Like right now, I wear my chashma more because I'm like, I wish when I was growing up, my like icons or idols wore chashma. Because then I would feel confident in myself being like, oh, okay, if she's wearing it, it's cool. And she can, if she's rocking her glasses, even I can rock my glasses. So that's why I also try to keep myself as chill and off duty as possible. So I would just also tell my younger self that you're looking amazing and you're killing it.
What's the one thing about Ananya Panday that Bollywood gets wrong?
Bollywood gets wrong. I think it's not like, I wouldn't say it's like a Bollywood thing. It's like a very human nature, natural thing. I feel like when you do certain kind of roles and people only see you as one thing. When I started out and I was doing like Student of the Year and I was doing these kind of like characters where I'm privileged, I was only being offered those kind of characters until someone sees you, like Karan Singh Tyagi saw that I could be a part of a film like Kesari Chapter 2, where it was completely different from the life that I've lived. A girl in the 1920s, a lawyer, not a Gen Z 2025 girl. Even after I did Gehraiyan, then Vikramaditya Motwani was like, oh, she'll be so good for Control. So I feel like in our industry, people sometimes, they need to see you as something before they give you a chance to do that, rather than taking a risk and being like, okay, we've not seen her like this, but like it would be interesting to see her like this. So sometimes I feel like not just me, but everyone gets kind of boxed in a certain thing, and then they only keep doing that because those are only the opportunities that they're getting. It's like sometimes people are like, oh, why is this actor doing the same thing again and again? But it's also about the opportunities that are being presented to them at that time.
So one thing is about, of course, being boxed, but did that bother you in the beginning of only being seen as this perhaps, Gen Z, very South Bombay, of a particular class, etc., only those kind of roles coming in? Did it bother you that people saw you and thought of you like that?
No, I didn't. It didn't bother me because I mean, it's human nature. It's a natural thought that, oh, this is so close to what they thought Ananya is in real life. So she would be, good at playing that. But I actually felt quite happy because I was being able to be part of films that had not been made yet, like a film about our generation, made by our generation. When I did Kho Gaye Hum Kahan, there were no films on social media and relationships and how Gen Z is dealing with anxiety and breakups. It was a very external perspective on what Gen Z is. So I was like, okay, I want to be a part of this changing generation of filmmaking, working with people my age, making films about us. So it felt like kind of a nice responsibility to have. Yeah.
Okay. Being as the cheerleader of Gen Z in Bollywood,
Suddenly I've become this like...
you're representing an entire generation. What are some things you think people don't know about Gen Z? Like the good things.
The good things. I mean, I think people... I've already expressed this before, but I feel like people think Gen Z is like very over emotional or like, always talking about mental health. But that's the reason that so much change is happening, The fact that we're making therapy such a common thing. We're opening up about our feelings. And it may be extreme to some people, which is fine. But there will be a balance achieved eventually. At least we're starting a lot of conversations that weren't happening before, So I feel like we're a very... But a generation that's talking about a lot of important things, bringing it to light. We are very fast-paced, I would say. Personally, I also need to watch everything on 2x. Okay. I do not have the attention span to like... Which may not be a good thing. And just a lot of information overload happens in our generation. But like, I feel like coming to like, in a weird way, our film, like I have a line which is in the teaser as well, where I'm like, मैं 2025 के hookup culture में 90s की love story चाहती हूँ. So I feel like people think that Gen Z has this reputation of like fast moving relationships and they just want situationships, etc. But I don't think that. Like when I see the people around me, I'm like, no, people do want love and they want stability. It's just these tags are being associated with us. It's kind of just the marketing of this generation. But I don't think that that's necessarily true with our generation. I do think we crave love and stability and, that comfort feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a move in Gen Z. We were just talking about it today. I work with young people, and the product is for young people. We were talking about how Gen Z is moving towards spirituality as well.
Yes.
So enlighten us. What is that about? And are you spiritual? Is there a spiritual side to you?
Yes, I'm very spiritual.
Okay.
I meditate every morning for 30 minutes. And if I don't, like my day is not the same. I feel weird if I don't do it. And to me, like spirituality is very personal. I feel like like when my mom used to kind of tell me to do something, I used to be like, I think Gen Z is like a generation that doesn't want to be told to do something. They kind of want to discover it on their own, which is great. It has to be very personal to you, and it doesn't have to be according to some rule book. It has to come from within. Like, so to me, spirituality has been very like about kind of streamlining my emotions, because I feel like I used to be very all over the place. Everything that I used to feel used to just come out in that moment. I used to never take like 10 minutes to kind of calm down and think about it. I used to not be able to balance my emotions out. Everything would be very extreme. Crying, anger would be extreme, happiness would be extreme, the lows would be very extreme, the highs would be extreme. So spirituality's kind of made me like create an internal balance. I'm able to deal with things better. That's the difference I felt with it. So that's it's about a calmness.
And so you mentioned meditation. What are some of the other things? Are you reading anybody? Do you follow any teachings in terms of spirituality as well? Or
so it's just a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I follow a lot of people on social media, and then a little bit about what you kind of hear or that sticks with you or stays with you. So it's a little bit of everything, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, but largely right now it's more meditation.
It's more meditation. It's kind of about finding my routine rather than following something else. Like what works for me.
Okay.
Like because I tried to do it a year back. It has to come to you at the right time in your life also. Like 1 year back when I tried to do it, it didn't stick. I couldn't do it. I couldn't sit in one place for like 20 minutes and keep my eyes shut. I would get very, very distracted. But then when I took to it like 6-7 months back, it really stuck with me. It became a routine. It became a habit. It became like a very strong part of my daily life.
And how did you get into it? Did you discover it with friends or it's something?
So, my mom's friend told me about it. And because I told him that I had done this, but it didn't really stick with me. And he was like, just try it again, but try it in your own way. Don't get too caught up in, I have to do it at this time. I can't do it before a meal, after a meal. If you start thinking about the rules, you'll find 100 excuses not to do it. You kind of just have to like find your way to do it, because it's very personal to you. And I really liked that it's supposed to be your way of doing it.
I'm going to shift gears to some of the memes and things like that. So when you look at the memes, do you sort of bookmark it and send it to friends, and do you have a
about
laugh?
Myself?
Yes, about yourself when you see them.
I haven't, touch wood, lately seen any memes. Y'all can tell me if there are some, but I've not seen anything. I don't want to say it and then suddenly there'll be a meme about me. But yeah, I'm someone who's always like laughed at myself, and I'm the first one to take a joke. I've kind of learned that from my dad, because he's always had a very thick skin in that sense. So yeah, between my friends, like we share memes about each other if someone does something funny and it's like a joke. Yeah, it's not really, I don't take it too seriously. At the start I used to get affected, but now I don't get it.
At the start, was there any piece of criticism or things that came your way that was really tough for you to take? How did you deal with it at that point in time? Did any piece of criticism break you, or did you feel extremely overwhelmed? Because you were really young when you began.
Yeah.
Was there at any point, and how did you deal with it? Even if you don't want to tell us the incident, specific incident.
I think for me, like, when I started out, I'm still also very honest, as I said. And I used to just feel like it's my like moral duty to say everything I'm feeling in an interview, which you should be transparent as possible.
Do you still do that? I don't think so.
I do, but I've become a little more like, think about it for 1 second. But I used to be like, I used to love, and I still do love like the bindas side of myself, that I say anything I'm feeling, and I'm so like quick and with my answers and all. And that did backfire a little bit, with some instances, which I don't need to, everyone knows all these instances that have happened. So I feel like I just sometimes feel like what I'm trying to say is not kind of being translated to people. I'm coming across like in my mind and my mouth, there's like a big lapse in communication because I'm not thinking and saying the same thing, because I want to answer the question so fast, or I want to like say something funny. What I'm trying to say is getting lost in translation in that sense. So things that would be like, oh, people would be like, she's so dumb, she's so stupid, she's this, she's that. I would be like, but why are people thinking this? Because no one around me in my life has ever felt that. So I used to get affected when people spoke about my personality. That used to make me feel bad because when someone criticizes you on screen, at least you can take it as constructive criticism and you can change
Because
it.
that's
and
about your
work on it.
craft.
That's
Yeah.
about your craft, and you're not really yourself. But when people talk about yourself, then you're like, oh God, like, do I have to change who I am? So those are things that used to affect me. When it would be about like, when it was like a personal attack on like the way I am or my upbringing or my parents, those things used to make me feel bad. Yeah.
And how did you deal with it? Like, it was quite difficult to hear these things, she's not smart, or she's stupid, or, things like that. It's quite difficult to
Yeah.
read about it
Yeah.
and see when this takes, you're boxed into being seen a particular way
Yeah.
because of statements you may have made that you felt you
Yeah.
wanted to speak
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that?
I think obviously I would be really upset at the start and everything. And then I realized that you're going to constantly change in life. Like today I'm going to be speaking certain things, and then even 1 month later I can be like, but I don't feel that way anymore. So I think understanding that it's okay to keep growing up and keep changing. And I feel like people have almost grown up with me because from 2019 to 2025, there's been a huge shift in my personality, not for other people, but I've genuinely just grown up,
How would you say? I mean, you're saying just generally
Yeah,
from a teenager to
like
now.
how a normal person would grow up. I've also grown up. I've just grown up very publicly. So I think it's taken people time also to be like, she's changed so much, and we've seen a change in her, and we appreciate being a part of her journey. I think it became more about, instead of creating a wall between people and being like me against them, kind of including people in the fact that, okay, it's fine, I'm a normal girl, I make mistakes, and it's okay, next time I learn and I'll do better. And I've done that, So I think just being transparent has helped.
And who's been your pillar of advice to walk you through this? It's both your parents,
Yeah.
or it's friends, or how do you?
I have a strong support system. I have, my friends also, I have my parents also, but I'm quite like a listening to myself kind of person.
Okay.
At the end of the day, like I can't be forced to do something. Like I'm really someone that has to come from me, that I want to do something.
So people can tell you everything, but it's something you have to do.
On my
you have to be
own.
convinced to do.
But
it
I
on
have
your
a
own.
really and I'm very grateful that my parents are my biggest cheerleaders, but they're also my biggest critics. Like they'll always tell me when I'm doing something wrong, or if they don't appreciate something that I've done, and I'm very grateful for that because I do learn from it then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any piece of advice from your father or mother that has stuck with you, or you thought was really good?
I mean, my dad has always kind of said how he's always kind of said how films are like cricket in a way, and every Friday is like the next ball, and anything can happen. You could have hit a six the last ball, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get out on the next ball. And that analogy really stuck with me because in our industry things are changing all the time. Just because your last film was successful, it doesn't guarantee anything, and you have to be prepared. You can't get affected by the highs or lows, and I really see the effect my dad has had on people as a human being in the industry. Everywhere I go, they're like, he's such a warm person. He's such a nice person to work with. He's so kind. And I've tried to do that because that's something in my control. That the way I treat people around me or the way that I am, I want to create a good working experience for the people around me. And I just want, and my dad's always said, you have to work with good people and have fun on a film set, because the outcome is not in our hands. The experience is what's going to stay with us at the end of the day. And my mom has also always been someone who's, they're very like particular about manners and kindness, which I think is something I also preach a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
The whole tag on the Nepo baby bit, do you still think about it? Does it sting still when you think of it?
No, I mean, it's something, I'm proud to be my dad's daughter. He was a child of two doctors, and it was his dream to become an actor. And my dad was an actor, and it was my dream to become an actor. And I've always acknowledged my privilege. I've always said that, we do have a foot in the door. But I personally genuinely believe that once you start working, then it's kind of mostly a level playing field. Then the audience decides if they like you or they don't. Because I think we have enough and more examples of people from film families and people from the outside who have succeeded and not succeeded. So I think opportunities come easily to us, but then audience acceptance is something that is entirely based on your performance and what people think of you at the end of the day.
Right, but the opportunity is something which, of course, comes,
it comes
easier
yes.
than
of course, it's like in any industry.
any industry, right?
Yeah.
Any one thing which has been a struggle that people don't see, which you're coming from a filmy family, or as you said, you're your dad's daughter, and there might be some doors which were open to you. But from a struggle perspective, is there something that that maybe the rest don't see?
Honestly, I mean, I try not to focus on the bad stuff. I think it's this only. I think people try to make you feel ashamed of where you come from, or that you need to distance yourself from your background or your privilege. I think that's something that I don't really, like that. And I think my dad has not had the most consistent journey. He was also a superstar when he started out.
Right.
And then he kind of had to change gear and do something else. He did a lot of movies in Bangladesh.
Right, which
He
he's
came
spoken
back,
about.
he became a character actor. But one thing about my dad, which I really appreciate and admire, is he is a hustler. He loves his work, and he loves any kind of work. Even today, touchwood, he's busier than I am. He's doing movies in all languages. So I think people don't see that journey of my father. I think they're just like, oh, ye star ki bachchi hai. But he's done so much in his life. He's had so many ups and downs.
And he's still working.
And he's still working. And he's still hustling for himself and, fighting for a space for himself in the industry. So I feel like I wish people saw more of that of my father.
I'm down to my last two questions.
Oh my God. Wow, I was
Time
enjoying
flew.
this conversation.
So, Ananya, how do you see yourself in the next 2 or 3 years? What are some of the, let's say, uncharted things that you want to do?
There's so much to do. I feel like I'm just starting out. I feel like I've just touched the tip of the iceberg. I feel like people are seeing me in a very different light from when I started out. And I'm really excited for that because, there's so much more that's happening. And I think it's a really exciting time to be an actor as well because of OTT. There's a different kind of cinema going on. Even with the kind of films that we're making, there's just so much to do. Like, there's so many genres I've not even entered. I've not done, a biopic. I've not done some action. I've not done anything in sports. I've not done a horror genre. I have like a proper rom-com coming out. I have a film that's romantic, hardcore love story coming out next year. So there's just so much to do. There's so much to do. And with every film, you learn so much. So yeah, there's too much. I hopefully in the next 2-3 years, I want to be at the top of my game, the way that the best actor that I can possibly be. When I started out, success looked very different. It was like, mujhe posters pe hona hai, mujhe ye karna hai, wo karna hai. And of course, all of that is still, you want to do it and you get excited about it. But I think for me, my goal has shifted towards being a better actor and focusing on that.
Okay, so you enjoy the craft now more than the glamour part of it.
I enjoy both.
Okay.
But I think I'm hungry for the craft.
Hungry for the craft.
Yes.
If acting wasn't an option, what alternate life would Ananya have?
I mean, I always say that I want to be a doctor. And I've said in another interview, and people are like, thank God she's not a doctor. We would not go to her. But I was a really good student in school. I just want everyone to know that I was a topper in biology. And my grandparents were doctors. So there was a phase when I really was passionate about biology and medicine, and I'm still very interested in the human body and learning about different things, but I also really love children. So sometimes I'm like, I'd love to be like a preschool teacher, but I love reading also. So I'm like, I'd love to be a librarian and just live, have like a small a small bookstore in a small town and just have my coffee and read books all day and have a little dog with me. Many things.
Many things. Many things.
Yes.
If not acting. Any favorite books, authors you want to tell us about?
I love Sally Rooney.
Okay.
I love, my favorite books are Forest of Enchantments and Palace of Illusions. I love the Harry Potter series. There's this book called Wonder that I love. There's this book called Less. I'm currently reading The God of Small Things.
Okay.
Next is Mother Mary Comes to Me. So
you have a long list.
Packed schedule, yes.
Packed schedule.
Yes, of reading.
Ananya Panday, we'll do a quick rapid fire round if you're okay with it.
Yes, let's go.
To end this wonderful conversation, and then you're going to tell me whether the questions were different,
Okay,
or not.
okay.
But we'll do the rapid fire.
Your
first.
result will come at the end.
My result will come at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. One rumor about you that is totally false, but you secretly find funny.
There are so many rumors about myself. I'm trying to think. I found it really funny that people are like, oh, she's dating this person and he bought her a house or he bought her a car. I'm like, it's very demeaning, that I can't do that for myself. So that, I mean, it's not funny. It was actually like, guys, like, what are y'all thinking?
I can do this by myself.
I can do this by myself, yeah.
Okay. The last screenshot you took on your phone?
Probably some outfit that I want to wear for the next promotion. Very, very boring.
Okay.
Nothing interesting.
Okay. A co-star who always makes you laugh on set?
Karthik. But I don't want to admit it because then he's going to keep cracking some bad jokes. But unfortunately, it's Karthik.
Okay, it's Karthik. One thing you wish people stop saying about you?
I don't want people to stop talking about me. They can say whatever they want.
One thing that they can change, what they're saying about you?
I'm really okay. I've heard everything. I'm fine.
So it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Okay. Your most unfiltered opinion about Bollywood today?
My most unfiltered opinion about Bollywood today.
Has it evolved? Has it? Okay, I won't
Let me
put words
think.
in your.
No, you can.
Yeah.
You can. Let me just think. Because, honestly, like I get these thoughts. I'm like, ugly interview, mein main ye bolungi. And then when the interview happens and
Where are those words?
Where are those words? They don't stay with me anymore. I feel like the fact that we just need to make big movies. Everyone's trying to make these projects and they're like, we have to do this. Because I feel like we get stuck in our own loop. When something works, we're like Sayyara works. Well, everyone's like, now we want to make the next Sayyara. But I'm like, they've made Sayyara. That worked. Now we have to do something different. So I feel like people kind of just want to make things. Like they come to you and you're like, this, like people used to say this to me, like, oh, this will be your highway. I was like, but Alia had her highway moment. Why do I need to do what
highway,
someone else has done? No one's journey is kind of the same. So I feel like I don't like when people try to replicate what is working. Because once the movie comes out, which is 1 year later, that thing may not be working anymore.
Right.
So that's something that kind of ticks me off. I would say. Yeah.
Well said. One actor whose DMs you would definitely open.
Ooh. Like someone who messages me
Yeah,
or
yeah,
someone
yeah.
whose DM I want to read? Oh,
Both.
I'm asking my own question. Whose DM I would open? I mean, if like, I don't know, there's so many people. Like if
You know the name.
I was going to say Kareena because I'm
Okay.
obsessed with Kareena. So yeah, if she messages me something, I'd be very excited to hear what she has to say.
Okay, all right. Last time you got starstruck?
I went on KBC, so with Amit Ji. I mean, every time he's there, I just feel like standing up, Like, so once we were with Navya and at Navya's house, and she was like, my Nana's coming home. So I was like, oh, okay, your Nana. Just for 1 second, it didn't clock me that her Nana's obviously Amitabh Bachchan. And then he entered and I said, Namaste, and I stood up. And then for half an hour, I didn't sit down. And I just like, because you're just so mesmerized by his presence, he's like Amitabh Bachchan. So I think, KBC, I was pretty like tongue-tied. Yeah.
Starstruck. Okay. A role you drop everything for right now?
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I loved what Kalyani did in Loka. Something like a superhero, female sort of like female superhero action star would be cool. I would love someone who's had a fascinating life. Like I loved the life of Princess Diana, but obviously I don't think anyone's asking me to play her. But like Gayatri Devi, we've had like so many iconic, people in India like Madhubala and their lives and their stories have been so interesting. So
a biopic.
A biopic of someone fascinating and interesting.
Okay.
But I'm not saying anyone, then y'all will be like, you could never play her and all. So I'm not giving you a chance for me to say anything. I'm just giving you a general space.
Okay, you're playing it safe, but okay. One habit from your teenagers you still haven't grown out of?
I have nervous tics.
Okay.
So like I have to do everything 3 times. Sometimes if I do this, I have to do it 3 times. I pull my hair all over. I bite my nails. So like just the usual anxiety-driven activities.
Okay. And the last one, a secret talent no one knows you have.
I'm so unsecretive. People know all my secret talents. There's nothing left for me to say. I told everyone I can touch my tongue to my nose. I've told everyone I can speak in P language. So now I need to develop a secret skill, which I will reveal soon.
All right.
To you.
Ananya Panday, thank you so much for being your candid self and speaking to
Thank you.
Brut.
You did very well.
Thank you,
There were
Ananya.
some new questions. There were some good ones.
Thank you. We had to work very hard.
Okay.
We had an entire team working hard on this.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
This
Thank
is
you.
lovely.
This was
Thank
great fun.
you.